Welcome to episode 2, starring Keith Cunningham and Travis Gearhart, and we are
Disenfranchised. So welcome back. We had a lot of positive. This is our just post Christmas episode. We've had a lot of positive feedback out of the last one. We are now on YouTube. We are now on Amazon Music.
currently working on being on Apple.
Yeah,
Being
they're
on Apple by the end of the day.
Apple one's a little funky, so we had to do some stuff. It didn't like because all of my stuff is Google, typical, right?
All my
Yeah.
stuff is Apple.
Of course it is. But yeah, we thank everybody for all the positive reviews. We're trying a few different things this time. Obviously, we're not playing football in the background so that we don't end up getting any episodes pulled down in the future.
And when we watched it, I think football was a little distracting. So
It was a little bit, but I still liked it. I felt like it added a vibe. If we could have done it, I wouldn't have hated the idea. But this is cool too. Man, look at that.
yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're pretty happy with this. We're doing a little bit of some different stuff with the lighting. In case you don't notice, we think this will look better, and we'll find out. This will be what it is. That was some of the other reviews that we got from people, is that it was a little dark.
I'm sure some people will comment and say, good show, good show. Keith, you still sound like shit. It was a little dark in there.
It's like, there's only so much I can do. This is what I sound like, man.
We're trying to do this as cheap as possible.
And not even cheap. We spent some money. We bought these nice podcast mics. We got you got the nicer camera. You know, we'll see how this ends up looking in the final product. But I think we're set. I think we're hitting our stride. We're getting ready for our generational run.
Yeah.
We're
trying to figure this out.
Yeah, we're getting it.
Anyways, it has been very fun.
Yes. So, and the other thing that we're trying to do this episode is being a little more finish the topic off and move on to the next one. So I think that's fair. It's my fault. I've got that ADHD, blue collar, syndrome. So we're taking all the positive feedback and the negative feedback, and we're working on it. So, one of the things we did want to touch on is we wanted to touch a little bit on college football. Before we get into all the politics and weeds, we brought up on the last show that we are sports guys. We do like to get into that stuff as well. So, and we were having a discussion over the phone the other day, Keith and I were, and we were getting into the college sports world a little bit with football. And yeah, well, I'll hand it over to Keith.
We were talking about the college football bracket. I like the bracket. I don't like how they choose the final teams. I think Notre Dame should have been in. I have the bracket here up on my computer. Just looking at the two teams that got in over Notre Dame, James Madison versus Oregon, they lost 51-34. Or Tulane versus Ole Miss. Tulane lost 10-41. I think Notre Dame would have gave Oregon or would have gave Ole Miss a better game.
And that's fair. And my point was, so what is Notre Dame ranked right now? Not being in the brackets, right now Notre Dame is ranked, I think we'd said it was like 12th, 15th, some shit like that.
Probably 13th.
13th? Okay. So what are these teams that you just discussed? What are they currently ranked?
James Madison was ranked 12th.
Okay.
Tulane was 11th, but I think those rankings changed before they put them on the bracket. I'm kind of curious as to how. I know they look at strength of schedule.
Right.
Look at strength of schedule with who Notre Dame played versus who James Madison played. That's a difference.
That is the difference. And again, then
what's the answer? Do you extend the bracket and then you extend the bracket another round? I know Notre Dame, they bowed out of doing a bowl game. Which, to tell you the truth, what's the date today?
27th.
The 27th. I have yet to watch a bowl game.
No, not this year, at least, especially.
The one bowl game that I turned on was being played at Boise State, and I can't stand
the blue field. Yeah, it makes me want to throw up. It's the same thing when I watch the Seahawks play and they have their color, like the color rush, and even almost worse is like the blue. When they're like draped in the last one with the Colts was kind of gross too.
The black one? Yeah.
Not the black one. They almost, no, It was like a weird blue color. The game they just played, it almost looked like
Almost like this.
kinda, yeah, but it didn't look like Colts blue, you know what I mean? To me, at least, and I kinda said this because I was at my neighbor's house watching it and having a couple of beers, and I was like, "Well, maybe it's just the color on your TV," but, man, it almost looks like they're wearing, it was almost like Carolina colors, you know? And I was like, "Who's playing? This is the Colts?" You know? So, and obviously, I wanna see the old man do good, so I'm kind of a late stage, I'm rooting for the Colts. They play today? I don't think are they out?
I
Shit.
do not think. I
Man, that
think he's done
sucks.
playing.
That's a shame, man. I was hoping that he would lead a late charge, but anyways, that's I see ADD. This is what I'm talking about. But
But back to Cal.
back to college, and so one of the things that we had kind of went back and forth on was that so first of all, before moving too far, and so the whole point of the bracketing system, I guess the question is, at what point does it make sense for college football to just to figure out a way to fix this system? Because every year somebody's got a bitch about it, right? This year it was Notre Dame, and past years it's been other teams. I can't think of a single year that college football hasn't had somebody with their team being like, "Oh, what? We only have one loss, and this team's in here," you know? And kind of like we said, is it when Keith and I was talking about it this past week, is it then one of the reasons that college sports makes sense for us to talk on this show, well, all sports, in fact, is that it really is, a lot of it is so freaking political, you know? A lot of it is political, and so, you have different teams that get put in, and you do wonder, like, what was the behind the scenes decisions, not to sound like a conspiracy theorist or nothing like that, man, but it does seem, a little sus at times, right? So it's that is one of the things. Now, the one spot that we did disagree on was I don't know that Notre Dame should even be allowed to bow out of a bowl game, right? To me personally.
Yeah, you were looking at the seniors on the team that are missing their last game. But at the same time, the seniors on the team that are missing their last game, are they going to play in the Senior Bowl? Yeah, that's usually the last game they play. They play the Senior Bowl. That's their big hoorah
I thought
before they.
Senior Bowl was high school.
No, they do a Senior
Is
Bowl
it?
for
Do they do a
college.
Senior Bowl for college? I don't.
They do
That's.
it before like the combine, before the.
I
It's
guess so. I guess, yeah, but then you're still taking away an opportunity. So like I get, and let me steel man your argument first is, without putting words in Keith's mouth, Keith was like, what a lot of people are saying online is like, well, yeah, if they got snubbed, they should be allowed to, this is them using their leverage as a team and saying, all right, well, then we're not going to participate in this. We're not going to. Notre Dame brings a lot of viewership, right? And that's fair. Notre Dame brings a lot of people to their stadiums, to other people's stadiums, to whatever. So I understand that, and I do see what that point is, but to me, you are also, at this point, you're paying these kids, right? So this is your job. So you are getting a paycheck to play football. And now I understand some of the ones that are going to be clearly, first draft picks, and they know who they are. They know who's going to go first, second, third ish. You have a good idea of what you're going to do, except for Schroeder Sanders. He was way off. But but
he doesn't
the
even know if he has a team yet.
right. So but so I get that aspect, but like I said, you're getting paid to play football now. So now you have, and now the other side of this is, should Notre Dame be required to join up with, can they still stay out of a conference? How fair is that? What are the, now that now that you're paying these kids and you have the portal and you have all these different elements that you're adding, I think that college football has to now grow in other ways to help accommodate for that. So you have kids too that, again, maybe the guys that are going to be going in early rounds, they know they're going in early rounds and they're not going to play in the bowl game anyways. You are taking away the opportunity for some of these guys that are seniors in particular to go ahead and play football. Both, it could be the last time they play football ever again, right? First of all, but second of all, this is the opportunity for them to put tape on. There's a lot of backup running backs, a lot of backup wide receivers that if the number one sits out, and that's how they want to do it, they want to be like, all right, well, we're not going to participate in this, whatever, or they don't want to get hurt right before the draft. I understand that too.
Sit your number ones, play your number twos and threes.
Give them an opportunity. Yeah, give them an opportunity to put some tape on, to put some film on for these guys. And so I think that it's a little unfair to do that, especially considering the amount of money that Notre Dame rakes in from this, So they're trying to leverage it because we didn't, again, taking their ball and going home. And I'm not just saying that because I don't like Notre Dame.
I haven't looked it up, but I'm curious. Are they the only ones that fouled out of the poll?
They weren't. There was several.
But they're the only ones being talked about because they're the largest.
They are.
They're the largest, and you could argue that James Madison and Tulane, I mean, how would James Madison do if they played Notre Dame? Or how would Tulane do if they played Notre Dame? I would put my money on Notre Dame.
Yeah. I mean,
since we're talking college, we have the quarterfinals coming up, 3 games on January 1st, 1 on December 31st. We're not going to record another show till after this. You want to put some picks?
Ooh.
How about we go December 31st, Miami, University of Miami versus the Ohio State.
I think Ohio State's going to take it.
I'm going to go Ohio State also. All right. This is a tougher one. Number 6, Ole Miss versus number 3, Georgia.
Georgia. I don't want to just go, by the numbers. I just think Georgia's going to.
I'm going to go with Georgia because, what was Ole Miss's coach? Was that Lane Kiffin? The guy that left.
Yeah. It's still early program.
All right, 5 versus 4. Oregon or Texas Tech. I'm going Red Raiders, Texas Tech, baby. Because, fuck Oregon. That's why.
See, I wanted to go Texas Tech, but I don't want all of our picks just to be the same. I want something that we can go against each other on. So, but I'm going to go Oregon. Let's go Oregon. Quack, quack.
All right. IU, number 1, IU. Who'd ever.
Right? Got to go IU. You got to root.
Signetti.
Dominating
the Sig 10.
Right? After sex, I like to have a cig. Yeah, and so kind of not really my alma mater. That's so stupid. But I did go for a year to IUN. So I finished all my schooling afterwards, that online schooling, some bullshit, whatever. But it counts. The credits count.
Yes.
So IU is kind of my alma mater. I do got to do a little shout out to Wayne Straka here, teacher at Hebron. I know he's a big IU guy, so I like to see, one of his teams, one of his other teams. I don't remember who they are. They're the same color as garbage cans. I don't know. I forget what his other teams are, but garbage, absolute garbage. So
does Stanley Bobin watch them too?
I think so. I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean,
This team sucks. But anyways, we're picking the Hoosiers.
In fact, I'm going for them all the way. Unless they don't.
All the way.
Yeah.
That'd be
That's
Cinderella.
That Cinderella story. Man. Yeah, that'd be great. So anyways, that's kind of our 10 cents on college football. Where stuff's at, what our thoughts are with it. I don't think
it's kind of like baseball. I don't watch baseball on TV. Now, mind you, we did have to buy the MLB extra innings or whatever the hell it's called. We had to buy that because who my daughter dates and who he's related to. So we had to watch it.
Oh yeah. Which we're gonna get him on, right? We're gonna try. We're gonna try. That's another awesome story.
But I don't typically watch baseball until it's in the playoffs. Now, I like football, so college football.
Watch a little more.
I watch it, but I don't really pay attention to it until the playoffs. Now, the playoffs, I'm watching. I like that.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm kind of the same way. And the older I get, the more I am like that with most sports. I mean, I haven't even, again, Cowboys fan. Sorry. I don't even watch football like I used to. If I catch it, great. I'm happy. I enjoy the games. But like we said last time too, there's so many just flippant penalties the past couple of years that you're like, and how many games this year then go into overtime, have gone so close because of flippant penalties. And, I'm not trying to say like, oh, the fix is in, but they can do stuff on the front end to try to make these games closer. And Micah Parsons, as much as I think he's kind of a crybaby and whiner and glad that he's with the Packers now instead of the Cowboys, I think we came out on the better end of that trade personally. But even he said something about it, the other day and was like, yeah, of course the refs aren't going to call the holding. I mean, he does. He gets held on 90% of the plays and they don't call it. And so it is crap. Don't get me wrong, man. It happened with the Cowboys and it's going to happen with the Packers. So, the problem is that he's so undersized that it's easy for him to get held and but because he's also so fast and strong, but he's much more, he's less strong than he is fast, if that makes sense. He's not coming up the gut and bulldozing you. He's a specialist. He's going to swim. He's going to get around you. He's going to come in from the edge. He's quick. And so it's easier to, once you account for him, quick little chip block and you're fine. You're good to go. He doesn't cause that as much disruption as what he's getting paid for, to me personally. So, but he's right on that topic. He's right on that point. So I will move on so that I do not continue babbling. I was told that too a little bit, that I need to shut up every once in a while. And that's fair.
Moving on up. What are we going to now?
I think, well, you know what we should do on this next topic? I think we should ask Grandma Smokes. What do you think?
Yeah.
What does Grandma Smokes think?
What does Grandma Smokes like? Okay.
Anyways, obviously she's down for this next topic. So this next topic we wanted to touch on a little bit. We try to keep it. So this, for full disclosure, this is much more state news. This is right here. So this was something, and this is a little older article from December 18th, but when I was looking around for some news, so Indiana AG Todd Rokita broke ranks with Trump on reclassifying marijuana. This is interesting because first of all, it's exactly the opposite of what we've talked about, what my campaign is about. And it really does show politically how just out of touch the Republicans are, And I know Todd Rokita is kind of a Northwest Indiana boy, and I've met him. I've heard he's a very nice guy. I didn't talk to him very long. I know a lot of the old Republicans we used to talk to know him quite well. But like this right here, it's just it's asinine. Like you're digging your head so far in the sand, and it's exactly the same thing that Republicans were saying to Democrats when it came to trans people using bathrooms. We became one of the many reasons why we became so disenfranchised, and we want to keep bringing up topics like this because it is so important to keep drilling it how out of touch these people are. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to even. It makes no sense to. We added this little element to the show too. This is fun. This is fun. This is fun. So, but there's the. And I understand that this is not a topic that what they would call like a dinner conversation topic. You're not sitting down at dinner and being like, "Oh boy, we should really legalize marijuana." Well, it is a financial topic. I wrote a piece yesterday for my Ramblings of a Modern Romantic thing, and this kind of touches on that in the same sense that monetary policy, fiscal policy, making smart economic decisions for both these parties just takes a back seat. Right. So they want something that can so easily solve so many problems right on the front end and back end financially. Instead of doing that, they want to push their heads deeper in the sand and say, nope, can't do it. Now,
they want to push their heads in the sand and they say, by the way, while their heads in the sand, they're screaming, by the way, we want to turn all your highways into toll roads.
We just don't have enough money. Again, you don't have to have a high IQ to take a look at 2 + 2 and go, and you're being told it's 6, not even 5. You're being told it's 6. And you're like, wait a minute. And on the other side of this is you have all this money going into the blue states, Illinois, so that's the issue, obviously, with Indiana. They're just
They're
spending it, dude.
well, they're in a
Just
hole, and
spending it.
they're finding a way to try to dig themselves out of it. We're just sitting here in a stalemate going, inflation's up, everything costs more money. We're going to turn that road into a
Yeah.
toll road.
Yeah, insane. And so, and
We're going to raise your taxes. We're not going to create something that'll create revenue. We're not going to do that. We're just going to raise your taxes another way.
yes. And so because we always want to be fair, obviously we're not, Democrats or Republicans at this point, but I want to be fair. And I didn't, I have said that, oh, well, what are the Democrats saying? They're not calling for this. There are a couple. So I did find on the Indiana House Democrat caucus page back in October 10th, Representative Blake Johnson. I don't know the guy, couldn't pick him out of the lineup. Don't care. Don't need to know him. He did bring up that this past session, he authored House Bill 1248 to establish a cannabis commission, like the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. This commission would regulate the production and sales. So, I don't know the guy. Also, there was other stuff brought in by Ryan Hatfield, of Democrat of Evansville, House Bill 1297. So the Democrats have, to their credit, put some stuff out there. And I just want to say right now, as a Libertarian candidate for the for state rep, I would have the nice part about this is that I wouldn't have to caucus with the Republicans, right? So I wouldn't have to do everything that they say. So I could find this Rep Blake Johnson and say, hey, let's work on some shit, right?
Here's a crazy idea. You could caucus with common sense.
Oh, I like that.
How does that sound?
Common sense
with
caucus.
Common sense. Why go party lines? The party line bullshit. It's a stalemate.
Yes, it always, and they rely on it. They really, truly do rely on the stalemate. It's disgusting, man. And I don't want to try to sound like sour grapes. I don't want to sound like, oh, well, I'm on the outside looking in. If I just got the opportunity, I would be able to fix, No, it's absolutely an uphill fight, without a doubt, and it's not saying that I would, if I got elected over the Republican or the Democrat person, I'm not saying that I would be able to just walk in and fix it. But you know what? I wouldn't be beholden to either side. I can do what I say. And that's what I think what I think we need to be pushing more on the national level all the way down. Obviously, I'm now invested in the Libertarian Party, and I think the Libertarian Party is a fine vessel for reducing government, because reducing government is the best way to make sure that you're most of the problems, when you look at them, boil down to the government overextending itself, right? That's the nature of all governments. So to me, it makes more sense to be in the Libertarian Party, because that's a fine vessel for that. But any other third party candidate, right? I mean, I was considering running just as a strict independent before I got a chance to talk with Mike Teleski, the Porter County Libertarian chair, and we discussed some stuff. And once I kind of went over all my notes and stuff, he's like, "You sound pretty libertarian to me," which I already kind of knew. I always said I was like a small L libertarian. I just paid my $60 to be a big L.
Would you be a small L?
A soft L.
Hey, he was a flaccid L. Now he's a rock hard
L for love. No, I at this point I'm a hard L, hard L. So yeah, I actually had a really good conversation. I don't want to drop too much right now, but we're doing some cross promoting stuff with another local podcast. We got that coming up. We got some news coming up on that. We'll save that for the end. So what's next? So that kind of covers the state stuff. Unless is there more that you really wanted to talk about on that? I mean, one of the only other things I kind of wanted to say on it was that, the other side of this is that with this, you got, while Rakita's breaking ranks and the Dems are pushing for it, the other is, how much should you be outlawing morals, right? It's the same thing that Indiana is known for, with, the reduction of Indiana alcohol sales, right? And then you try to push it on a health section, the health wise, more and more, less and less young adults are drinking alcohol, right? And this is what they're doing instead, right? Which is much safer, argument. Obviously, there's people that say, oh, well, there are some people that are super sensitive to it. And I understand that. And you should listen to your body, right? But there's also people that are super sensitive to alcohol. And more, you're much safer doing that at home than you are doing the other one and then getting into a car accident, getting DUIs, stuff like that, right?
And how long have they been fighting this war on drugs?
Yeah.
How much money are they gonna throw at some? It's never gonna work.
It hasn't worked. And then the ironic part, without dragging it into the national side, because we've already touched on it a little bit, you got us bombing boats claiming that it's filled with fentanyl, not even remotely true. Coke, sure. But then besides that, in what way, shape, form, or world should we be just killing? When do we kill drug addicts? Yeah, or drug pushers? Like that's designating it terrorism. What? It's like the plot of a bad movie, man. And again, I don't want to spend too much time on that because that's not the point of it. And we just talked about wanting to stay kind of on somewhat on target. But my God, like that's
Bouncing us around.
I know. I'm sorry. I'll stop. All right. What do you want to tackle next? Do you want to go into national?
Trump administration is actively preparing to restart the wage garnishments for millions of federal student loan borrowers that are in default.
Gotta love that. The winning.
Actions expected to begin early 2026. The Department of Education expects to send the first batch of approximately 1,000 notices to defaulted borrowers during the week of January 7th, 2026.
Merry Christmas from the Trump administration. Every Christmas. So, hey, I know that an entire generation of people got lied to.
There is a minimum threshold though under the new federal rules. The first $217.50 that you make in a week, they will not touch that. Anything over, then they will garnish.
Well, thank
Anything
God.
over that is vulnerable.
Thank God. 200.
Hey,
That's like a quarter of a cart of groceries. You know why alcohol sales are down? Because nobody can afford to drink. You know why? So asinine, dude. Just asinine. And they're just lining up, just telling you to keep voting for them. Right, man? Like this is winning. This is what the Department of Defense Department of War. Department of War just failed their most recent audit. Again, what's that, 8 years in a row? You've got you've got the bullshit Epstein file kerfuffle that came out, which not even touching that, just looking at the hard fiscal numbers. How do you say that you're trying to be for the American people, that you are America first, right? How can you say that and then decide to do this, right? You just sent how much money to Israel? How much money to Ukraine? How much, again, Israel has universal health care. You know that? And it's paid for with our fucking tax dollars, man. We pay for that. Whatever you think about the Hamas bombings, whatever you think about any of it, I don't care. That is besides the point. We are funding it. How do you, and then while we're funding it and we're giving all these other foreign countries our money, this is what you need to pay it.
They did put a fix in here though. There is a notice period. Borrowers are going to receive a 30-day notice before the garnishment begins. And there's also alternatives. You can avoid this by entering a rehabilitation or consolidating. You can consolidate your loans to get out of the default. I'm going to guess that they're just talking about refinancing your school loans into probably a higher interest rate.
That's my guess. If I had to, and you can't claim your student loans on bankruptcy.
Nope. In addition to wages, not only are they going to garnish your wages, they're going to seize your federal tax refunds and any Social Security benefits that you may receive. They're going to seize those also.
Yep.
So there's no getting away from the reach of the federal government.
Oh, without a doubt, man. We know this. You know this, man. It's insane. It's insane to me. And then they're going to be so surprised when they get the blue wave. Again, I'm no liberal, obviously.
What do you think of that? My daughters are in college now, so your first payment comes when you get out of college. So let's say a 4-year college, that would put everybody that's ranging from what 2 to 24. I'd say 23 to 24 if you have not paid yet, because there was a certain period you had to be like 230 days behind. You're gonna start getting your whatever money you make is going to be taken from you, as long as you make over the $217.50.
which is pretty easy. My God.
Yeah, it's not a hard thing to do.
You know, I mean, what do you say about it? What do you say about it? And it's that we haven't just already said. It's insane. I don't even care. You know, man, I'm not saying that necessarily you should go and say, hey, we should wave a magic wand and do away with all student loan debt. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you've got to at least work with these kids, with these people, these adults, you know. And again, yeah, I can't stand the boomer arguments that are like, well, you know, you signed up for this loan. No, you didn't. Like, let's be real clear here, all right? When we were in high school, we were dragged into the student guidance counselor office one by one and said, well, what do you want to do? Let's get you on a career path. And they pushed college damn near for all of us. And they said, well, you should do this. Do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life. This is what you have to, oh yeah. And yeah, I get what the general idea is, but in the same breath, it goes hand in hand with everything that we say about government. Yeah, so you're going to push these, and that what we say about government, that there's always something else behind it, right? So in order to do that, we are also helping out all of these. We're helping to give out all these student loans. So because we're giving out these student loans willy-nilly to these kids with no foresight, they're all going for these liberal arts degrees. Nobody said, well, hold on, what's the reality that you're going to be able to pay this back, right? They didn't do that. They weren't allowed to do that, right? So once again, government policy comes around, and then they push it. They have their priorities of what they want. They want to see more kids in college, because that way they could hold up a graph and say, look at this. Look at our policies put this many more kids in college. And that's the only reason they did it. Only reason that happened. No Child Left Behind was bullshit. All that shit was bullshit. And so that's the only thing, is it was all politics, 100%. And now you've got all the chickens are coming home to roost. You got to pay all this money back. Everybody's fucked. The inflation's through the roof. Nobody's making any goddamn money unless you're a lawyer. That's it, man. It's ridiculous. So, all right. I'm
Getting
done.
all fired up.
Dude, it's retarded. It is retarded for them to start saying that, hey, we're going to start garnishing your wages on that. How many of these politicians are backdoor, are doing under the table shit, right? How many of these guys go in? How much does a congressman make? Like $30,000 a year, some shit like that? And how much they walk out? Every fucking one of them walks out millionaires. Nancy, it's a running joke about Nancy Pelosi and that one-eyed faggot, Crenshaw. You know, it's a running joke that those two motherfuckers just scheme the system, do insider trading. The entire Congress, right before COVID, dropped all of their stocks. Remember that? Don't forget that. Yes, if you want that, Unusual Whales, look them up on Facebook, whatever. But they're the ones that created the Nancy Pelosi app and the insider trading app, and you can trade right along with her. But which is fine. And some people say, like, yeah, see, that's free market. You should do the Nancy Pelosi trade app and just make as much money as her. You know, that's no problem with that. You're right. Most we don't have the extra income for it. We all just wanted breakfast. It's afternoon, so coffee and then beer. It's a weekend, man. It's holiday week.
What's this girl's name that's running for?
Yes. Texas? So and then speaking of these types of people, you've got, where'd it go? Hold on.
She's running for U.S. Representative, Texas District 31, I do believe.
Yes. And Tina Gomez.
Tina Gomez. If you need to look her up, watch some of her videos.
She's interesting.
She's very interesting. Which I liked. I liked what she was putting out there until I went on her Facebook page and it says, "I fully support Israel." Why? You are running for Texas District 31. Why do you have to put out there that I fully support Israel? But I went ahead and looked it up. I went on this website called trackapac.com. You can check them out. And right now, John Carter, the U.S. representative for Texas District 31, receives $59,497 from AIPAC.
Which is a small amount compared to what most of them make from AIPAC.
That is tiny.
A foreign country that doesn't have to, or pro-foreign, a lobbyist group for a foreign country that doesn't actually have to register as a foreign country. So, but while he's pulling that back up, one of the other things, so the thing that first of all, she's 25, which is fine. We were both involved in politics when we were 25, and we get it, you know. The thing that's funny about her is, so she seems like one of those people that, first of all, she calls herself the Michael Jordan of politics in this article from March, The Texan. Valentina Gomez brings brazen brand from Missouri to Texas. So she seems like she just is one of these that is going to bounce around until she finds herself a safe district that she can run. Looking at the statistics of the guy that she's running against has won handedly every time. So her idea is, since it is a super hardcore Republican area, and now with the redistricting, it probably is even more so, you know, more than likely. All she has to do is beat this old man in the primary. He's never really had any issues, you know, and she's trying to be a Trump. She's trying to be like a female Trump. You know, she calls everybody weak and gay. She actually did that? Is there? And yeah.
You know, on this track AIPAC site, it says Texas pays $1.4 billion to fund Israel's weapons. The U.S. government sent $7.9 billion in 2024, $7.9 billion in military aid to Israel. And then it says on here to supporting a genocide that has killed what is estimated to be hundreds of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza.
Right.
And she sits there and eats her popcorn.
Yeah, I think it's funny. And that's not, you know, I'm less surprised when the boomers are okay with it. You know, Tim Dillon had a great bit when we were first bombing Iran this past summer, where he's like, "Oh, the boomers sitting and watching his Fox News, sitting in a lazy boy, making sure that he bought his 5th house so his loser son can go." You know, he had this whole little bit. It was funny. And because it's true, man. Like, and that's not all of them. Obviously, it's a stereotype. You can say that about any stereotype, but there is an element of truth about just being willing to go to war and just kill. You know, there was a list I was listening to on a podcast earlier, and they just went through all the people that we've bombed that you don't even hear about. You know, Trump's bombed Syria out the wazoo, all kinds of countries. You know, I mean, I could pull it up on ChatGPT with the number of countries we bombed, and it doesn't even make the news. And whether or not you even think that we're doing anything positive with that, correct? First of all, how can you, when did that just be the norm? You know, like just random ass fucking bomb people. Like that's just the norm. How expensive is that?
They don't care how expensive.
They don't.
Indiana pays $242 million in tax dollars for Israel's weapons. Indiana. What the fuck do we have to do with Israel?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
Israel has free health care.
They do.
Don't they also have free college?
Probably. I have no idea. I have no idea. I'm sure they do.
Look, I think they have free college tuition. He's going to garnish anybody who makes over $250, going to garnish their wages.
Yep.
But we are going to consistently send money.
And here's the thing. This is, but here's the other caveat, because there's going to be Republicans that are going to sit there and listen to that and be like, "Oh, you're just giving all this fodder, so you're pushing for the Democrats. You guys are," you know, they said the same thing about Fuentes when he would push for stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, he's just a Democrat plant." You know, whatever you think about his opinions on different stuff, on this, he's fucking right. You know what I mean? And on this, it's absolutely ridiculous that that our government is doing that. And so again, well, my point was that that's not like the Democrats are going to change that.
No.
They haven't changed it. But how many of those, can you pull that AIPAC list back up? How many of them are Democrats? This isn't a Democrat Republican thing. This is the beast, man. This is the monster. Marlon Stutzman, 41,500. Andre Carson, 0. So he actually has 0. Good for you.
Mark Messer,
$1.3 million. My God. Look at that face too, man.
Think of this. So it says right here, donations, 397,000 spent by Israel lobby groups. Indiana expenditures. So I'm assuming that's what he has spent on his re-election campaigns. 54,000. They're buying his election.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Frank Mervan, U.S. Representative Denver.
Oh, our guy.
9,700.
Almost $100,000 received from AIPAC. Frank Mervin. Would you look at that?
Oh, U.S. Rep. Indiana 2. So Rudy Yakum.
Yakum. Barely know him.
Yeah, Yakum. Barely know him. But he's right around us.
District 2. So right around the corner. Unreal. Marlon Stutzman. We already said that one. 41K. Jim Barry.
They got District 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Locked
5,
up.
6, 7. District 7, they received 0. And then they didn't put any money towards 7, but towards 8, they put 1.3 million.
Yes. So they made up for it.
Yeah. They got District 9.
Good movie.
Oh, they even got U.S. Senator Todd Young, 396,000. Jim Banks.
Another 350,000. My goodness. You want to know why we left the Republican Party? That shit. That's it. And it's not just because, take Israel out of the equation. It's because of the underhanded fucking shit that happens. It's because if it's not money from them, this is just AIPAC. This isn't all the other companies that donated money. I mean, if you go through their actual financials, Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter, dude. This country's bought and paid for at this point, man. And again, I don't want to sound like whatever, but it's true. It's true.
It doesn't matter. Democrat, Republican. Dick Durbin. We're looking at Illinois now. Dick Durbin, 1.1 million. Tammy Duckworth, 782,000. Now, wasn't Tammy Duckworth, her thing was, I was over there fighting the wars in Iraq?
I don't remember, to be honest with you. All I know is I get growing up in the region, and anybody that is watching this that grew up in the region knows watching.
Here you go.
Delia
Ramirez, U.S. Representative, Democrat, Illinois.
$0 from AIPAC.
$0, and it says received from AIPAC, and she condemns Israel for committing genocide.
Good. That's and again, that's.
But look, I don't know how old she is, but look at her. She's young.
Yeah. Anybody.
Chewy Garcia, nothing. Same as her. Chewy Garcia.
I think it's Chewy.
It is Chewy.
Chewy?
No, it's Chewy. He's ran for.
Oh, you know that?
Yeah, because he's ran for mayor of Chicago.
Okay, I don't remember that one. Yeah, man, it's insane. It really is. I don't really get it. I don't get how.
Can we put this link on our website?
Yeah, I'll put the link in the thing, the AIPAC link.
AIPAC.com. Go on there and check it out. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because again, even if you and this is what I will say online, because I try to play a little bit of, not devil's advocate, but I try not to, I got my opinions, and I understand that there are people that are like, well, Hamas is a terrorist organization, blah blah blah. So I try to. I try to, like we said earlier, kind of steel man the argument. I try to think, I really do. I try to think about it in terms of, well, this is what the argument is from the other side, right? Is there any validity there? What's the validity? And so, and there's a little bit, October 7th happened. Now, there's also a lot of documentation that said that they had an idea October 7th was going to happen. And they were also having a music festival right there on the line of where the border is, right? So it's kind of like the, well, she deserved it, look how she was dressed type deal? No. But also if you go out late at night and you're wearing whatever, not saying you're asking for it, I'm saying that you need to keep your head on a swivel a bit, right? So if you're going to be doing a music festival right there, right at the border, then obviously you want better security. Now, the other side of that is it's documented proof that a lot of the deaths that happened after that was because Israel has it set up where they won't let Hamas take hostages. They tell them start strafing the whole thing. There was a lot of those deaths were done by Israel soldiers during the confrontation, right? So there's that. That's number two in that whole thing, right? Number three is, and this is also documented, Hamas was funded by Israel for years. For years, Netanyahu had said, "We control the height of the flame," right? That was what he said in several articles. We can control it. The ultimate goal is just to take over that land, and you can. Well, this was promised to us biblically, yada yada. Man, it is 2025, right? We are at a point where yeah, did we come in and push all the Indians off the land, and is there some stuff about that that's fucked up? Sure, absolutely. And that's always been kind of the conservative versus liberal culture argument. The conservative side has always been like, well, dude, it happened so long ago. What do you want to do about it? We're not gonna just, what do you want us to do about it, right? That's how everybody did it back then. But that's not how it's done now. And those people have been living in that area forever, right? And so you kind of look at a group like Hamas, who yeah, obviously always condemn violence, right? You never want to root for that. Nobody wants that. But you also look at it, it's very much, hey, this is our land, right? It would be like if somebody tried to come, we've been here now in America for 250 years, and now all of a sudden Mexico just started trying to push back into Texas. We wouldn't let that happen. You know what I mean? That's not happening. Sorry, brah. Even if the whole international community was like, this is fine. This was Mexico's land. It was promised to them. You have to let it happen. There would be a group of freedom fighters shooting people at the border, right? That's how we would operate. So how can you look at how they're operating over there and think any different, right? And again, not saying that any sort of violence is welcomed or thought of, and without a doubt, you don't want to be anti-Semitic, just like you don't want to be racist or sexist or anything else. But you also have to recognize that some of those things happen. In this case, talking about anti-Semitism, you don't even see, or maybe they don't care, that they're absolutely growing the anti-Semitism by just killing these people so just
Well,
openly,
they're using
you
our
know?
funds to do it.
And that's the biggest issue. Not even take all the other crap out of it. It's the money.
And I know you're tired of it too. I'm tired of policing the whole world. Why do we
Yes.
have to?
Well, it's happens with every
And the crazy thing is, we want to be the world police, and at the same time, we want to march around and talk about how we need to defund the police.
right. That is, yeah. It's such a uh, it's such a this for me, that for you type argument. And the people that are here that are disenfranchised are in the middle of it all. And again, I'm not saying anything that I think has been overstated or understated, even just in general, man. At the end of the day, no matter how you feel about it, again, you don't have to sit here and listen to this podcast and go, I am absolutely on board with Travis and Keith. This is how I'm with them on every single thing. You don't have to be with us on every single thing, but just do your own research and make your own decisions. And the parties aren't there for you, man. You know, we've kind of been taking every show, we're reaching about 52 minutes. So I think,
Oh, really?
yeah. So, but we've touched on most of the things we wanted to. The only thing we didn't do was really the regional stuff, and I think that's a good time. But one of the things but I think this is a good segue to talk about is,
But what I think we can flow into it. It's a little story about myself. Since we're talking about being Democrat, they donate to everybody. If you go into local politics, when I was a town councilman, there was a young lady running for election.
Yep.
We helped her, or I would say, I don't know if we really helped. I think you lived in Wisconsin at the time. I helped with her election.
I think I might have written a letter that got mailed out. I used to do that a
I
lot
don't think it was
because did I not do it for her? I don't remember. It's
for the Democrat that was also, we helped her beat the longtime town council president. And at the same time, the longtime town council vice president, Mr. Dave Peeler, we helped him win his election. So we took one of them out, we carried one along. It was actually a very interesting thing. If you asked him, he'll completely deny it, but that's just how it works. I think you wrote his letter. I think his comment to me was, "Wow, you made me sound interesting."
yeah.
But
I did. When you did the thing, I think I did write the thing for you because you're like, hey, help me out with this because I consider myself a bit of a wordsmith.
yeah, but it was that was Democrats and Republican working together for the common good of the town, and we took out the president.
Well, and that's right. We were going to touch on that too. So there was another gentleman, without getting into names at this point, but he just recently got sworn in. What position?
The new Boone Township
The
trustee.
new Boone Township trustee. The funny thing about it is, so the new Boone Township trustee, he also ran for town council with me. And we used to have words a little bit because he would go around and put words in my mouth. So because we were running on the same ticket and promoting each other, he would go and be like, well, Travis is going to do this and Travis is going to do this. And people then would come to me later and go, hey, so-and-so told me. And I'd be like, no. Don't listen to that shit. And so I'd have to go back and be like, dude, you can't do that. Stop it. I'm going to stop campaigning with you if you do this. And there was so many instances of that then, and this guy was kind of like the Mark Leva of Hebron. Mark Leva, if you don't know who he is, he was a Republican back in the day that used to run every year against Visklosky. He would run, if there was a chance for him to put his name on a ballot, he would throw his name on the ballot. And that's fine. Somebody's got to do it. I actually don't knock him for that. He got a lot of name recognition. Everybody knew the name Mark Leva, but nobody ever voted for him. Nobody really wanted him in a position of power. I don't know if he ever won anything. Maybe. I don't know. And there was the same thing with this guy in Hebron.
Well, this guy in Hebron ran for town council multiple times. He's ran for school board, I do believe, county council, county commissioner. He's ran for everything that he could.
Yeah. And finally, he was able to get himself caucused into a position. And even during the caucus in position, but every single time that he would run, the party would come to us and say, and he doesn't know that. The funny thing is that now all these guys that are posting on Facebook, congratulations, well deserved. Oh, you did it. Finally you got on something. And it's just like you read some of this stuff and it's so fake. It's all fake, man. It's so because on the back end, we were getting emails and texts all throughout our late 20s, and then I stopped finally in my early 30s of, hey, can we get anybody else? We got to get somebody else. We can't let him take this. He's gonna give us a bad name. We worked too hard.
He's gonna embarrass the party.
Yes. And so, you know what? I'm glad he got it now, though. So again, this isn't knocking him. We're just doing what we were asked, and at this point, fuck it. I hope he does a good job. I don't know.
At the same time, he's a nice guy. It's unnecessary because I was really not interested in being a precinct committeeman or a state delegate or any of that, but they put me up to running for it because he ran for it.
Yeah.
Which I took him out. I think 1 year I beat him in 3 elections. I beat him in the primary. I beat him for state delegate. I beat him for precinct committeeman in 1 year.
Call that the hat trick.
Yeah, the hat trick. Bring it up.
Yeah, dude. And it's just.
And now I look at it and state delegate. Did I go downstate to participate in any of that? No, I didn't have time.
I did the 1 year, and it was a nice time. But again, it was all so surface. And also, like, I look back on it now, and, I was in my early 20s. I don't even think I was on town council yet. And so it's a lot of, oh, the future of the party. Let's get a picture of everybody that's the future of the party. And now you look back at that picture and you're like, man, I don't talk to hardly any of these guys. There's a couple of them.
But I
And
will
you
say
never
that-
did get to be the future of the party. Anybody did.
Yeah.
Because anytime there was any position that you had the opportunity to step into, there would be somebody with more money or bigger name that never did shit else.
Just like we did to Howard.
They would do.
They
on the
did
other
to
side.
us.
Yep.
They did to us.
And that's politics.
Yeah.
That's how it works, man. But that's why I'm running the campaign I am, and that's why we're doing this show. Because that's not how
really think about it. That is why we are disenfranchised.
That would be a perfect spot to cut.
If we talk to Howard, I bet you we talk
what
to
name?
Howard.
Who?
Howard O'Connor. That's
okay. I just didn't know. I don't want to blast anybody. You know.
I don't think it's. I think.
Yeah.
But I bet you if we talk to Howard about what has happened in the past, he would too be disenfranchised.
He won't though. Because he would
won't
be like,
believe it.
well, it's not even won't believe it. It's
But here we.
It's that he's one of those that he's so into the party shit.
His best friend, who sits Jeff Grogan, who sits on the board with him. You worked with the Democrats to take him out.
I know.
You did the same thing that we did to Howard.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Jeff Grogan would probably also be disenfranchised.
Oh, without a doubt. I had lunch the other day. I don't want to say the name, but he's looking at being our treasurer, but he was a former county commissioner and a former county councilman. And he was a Democrat, and he's no longer in those positions. And we had lunch, and I went through my 6 points. We talked politics. We had a nice long lunch, and it was a great conversation. I don't know if he's going to be my treasurer or not. We'll see what happens. He's treasurer for another guy right now, and so he wants to make sure there's not any conflict of interest or anything, which is fair. When I was talking about it, he was like, this is, I've not really been involved in like third party libertarian races or anything. Are you trying to get more hard R's, more soft D's? What are you trying to pull away? And I'm like, I don't care about that. I want people 50 and under. That's what I'm looking at, because those are the people that aren't so engrossed in this right versus left. They're just, again, they're disenfranchised, but everyone's getting so sick of it, man. My kids they don't give a shit. They look at both of them and they're just anti-government in general, man. They don't care.
And you know what's funny is there was a time when you lived up in Wisconsin. We went up to Wisconsin and God, you and your son was young at the time. You're arguing about something, and he turned around and he called you a Democrat.
You're a Democrat.
Yeah.
Like it was like you told me to fuck off, And I was like, oh,
right.
It was cute. It was cute. So while we're on the region stuff too, the only thing really to close out that we wanted to just touch base on, because we're at about an hour and a minute. And this is interesting because I do feel like this is a little bit of an economic indicator for the region. So there's two big region closings. One of them just happened December today. Today was their last day in Valpo, Pike's Tavern. How do you pronounce it? P-I-K-K-S. Is that Pike's Tavern? Pike's Tavern? I always called it Pike's. I don't know the pronunciation. Craft House in Chesterton closed even before the holidays. How much of these regional closings are a pulse and economic indicator? I think these are both places that have been in the area for a very long time.
I've never been to either one. Do these places,
I love Craft House quite a bit. We used to go there all the time.
Is it mostly craft beer?
It is mostly craft beer, but they also had good food. Ike's Tavern, I went a couple of times. I don't really remember it, to be honest with you. Nothing that stuck in me.
Well, I just searched up,
stuck with me,
is the craft beer industry, is it dying? And in here, it talks about how it's not necessarily dying, but the boom era is over, and it says it's maturing. So I'm kind of curious. At your age, go back a couple of years when it was booming.
I still am a little bit. I still like I still go when I go out to eat. I don't. Now that I'm almost 40, and I've cut down quite a bit.
Coming up to hitting their 21, 22, they're not drinking as much.
They aren't, and we kinda touched on that earlier, and I do feel like maybe that's part of it. I feel like sometimes a couple of things can be right at the same time. I think it might be the saturation also of the craft beer
It
industry. I
says
mean,
on
every small town with
it
a
says on
barrel.
here, consumer habits are shifting away from craft beers and more towards seltzers, cocktails, and non-alcoholic options.
That's true. That is true as well. You do see a lot more of that. And obviously sometimes you just want a cool, refreshing Coors Banquet. Taste the rock.
Sometimes you want a Zima and you just can't find it. Zima is fucking amazing.
It is. It is. I mean, it depends on what I'm in the mood for, man. Like I just had a couple of these Coors in the fridge, so I grabbed them to have something to wet my whistle while we are doing this. I like the occasional beer on the weekend, not a couple of them. When I go out to eat, I'll try, especially if I go out to town. Like if I go out of town and I'm out to eat somewhere, I'll be like, "What do you got as far as craft beers options? Like what's local?" And just to see, just to sample it. You might as well. You can get, again, you can get a PBR or a Coors anywhere. You can't get such and such brewery in Northwest Indiana necessarily. It is pretty cool when I go around the globe though and see Three Floyds, how available that is out in the area. That is cool. That is neat. To be like, I'll be like, man, I remember. I actually have a bottle of Dark Lord that I've had for a couple of years that we got. It was the Morgan Township firefighter raffle, where you go and you like put a raffle in, you pay for so many tickets. It was pulled out and it was in a gift basket. And so we're holding on to it when me and Aaron get married. Not if, I'm kidding, honey. When me and Aaron get married, we're going to have that as our like drink while we're up there.
Are you planning this huge, extravagant wedding?
Probably not get huge extravagant, but it's probably going to be, it's probably going to be decent. I mean, it'll be my second wedding and, there is that, but for her, it's going to be her first wedding. We don't know what the likelihood is of having
First of
many. No. First and hopefully only. So no, I think it's probably going to be decent. She's also like one of the only girls like in her family. So, and she was always like everybody's little girl, and so she's going to undoubtedly have a lot of family there, a lot of people there that are, hold on, guys. Now leave it. I did it the right way. You sneeze. You dab. That's right.
It's what Obama taught us.
It's dab. You destroy all bacteria. That's so stupid. Gay. That makes me think of that the end of that Tucker Carlson. Say it, faggot, faggot, faggot. Just I'm so edgy. Not to dish on any of that stuff, but well, yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with the region news. It's a shame to see both those places go. It's something that raises a few alarm bells. I hope that we can keep maintaining these businesses in the area. I mean, obviously businesses come, businesses go, businesses shrink, businesses grow. Dr. Seuss over here. But it is whenever big business, like businesses that have been around for a long time, like those two, do fall off the map, it does make you take a second and wonder, well, what does this look like for us economically going into 2026? I don't have the same positive views that our president does, that he gave us during his latest little Truth Social rant. Honestly, dude, I don't even read that shit anymore. It's such garbage. It's such garbage. Anybody that's still involved in all this, anybody that's still just eating it, like you can make the argument to me that like, oh, well, he was better than Harris. And man, I'm in the middle of writing a piece, not debunking that, but challenging that, because I do think he's doing so much harm that he's ushering in this blue wave. And I don't know that's obviously, I don't think that's a good thing either. I don't know what the right answer is, man. I mean, I know what the right answer is to fix it. We eventually, whether we want to or not, we're going to have a libertarian-esque government because it's going to fall. There's no way, shape, or form that eventually you run out of this money, right? I mean, that was always the conservative trope. Socialism doesn't work because eventually you run out of other people's money. And Margaret Thatcher, right? And the conservatives, who was supposedly the Republicans, always said that, and they, oh yeah, Reaganomics, all this. But then all it is again, without coming full circle and without trying to repeat everything, the actions don't follow it, So that's why it is so important for you to vote for the person, not the party. And it is important, if you are wanting to be involved, join the Libertarian Party if you feel that way, right? If you don't, if there's anything good coming out of this chick in Texas that we were just talking about, this 25-year-old that is kind of crazy, but whatever. I don't live in Texas and I'm not a Republican, so I don't have to care, right? But getting involved and running and putting your best foot forward is the only way to get some of these guys out of there. Now, mind you, we're up against our backs to the wall, man. Like, we don't have that kind of money, but you do have a vote. You do have the power to not show up and just vote for slop. Don't just show up and pull straight Republican or pull straight Democrat. Stop straight ticket voting.
Or if you want to get involved but you don't want to be like out on the main stage, check out running for precinct committee.
That's something too.
That's the lowest level that I think can make the most change.
Yeah.
Or state delegate. You change the party on being a state delegate.
Yeah. Or, like I said, I'm going to keep pushing the Libertarian. I almost feel like the Republicans and Democrats are done. They're cooked. I don't think there's any saving them. I don't think there's any, for the immediate change, maybe you can get involved like you said with that. But I think that it's necessary to have a strong third, fourth, fifth party even. I think we have to go in that direction if we want to combat this. You know what I mean? I think all the super hardcore libs and the Democrats have to realize that the Democrats aren't going to ever change anything, and they need to form their own party, and they can push for whatever, split that party up. I think it has to be. I think that has to be the future. And then I think whether we want it or whether you, the voters, want it or not, you're going to have less government, because eventually, look at what we just talked about. They're going after kids for their student aid while we're shipping money overseas, while we're bombing people overseas. And whatever you feel about bombing people overseas, the fact is it's pretty fucking expensive, man. If we don't have the money to let these kids get a chance for the economy to get better, to get some jobs. Oh, and while they're trying to get those jobs, we're importing Indians. And while we're importing Indians, we're importing Chinese students. And while we're doing that, we also just left the borders open for 5 million Mexicans to come over. Like, we have a Somalian problem where fraud in Minnesota. How much money, and that's a Democrat issue, how much money have the Somalians stolen in Minnesota in fraud? Crazy amounts, right? But by God, if you make over $250 a week, government's coming for your check. Real.
I was just watching a video. I can't tell you where to go to check it out, but it was some daycare centers in Minneapolis. It says, "Oh, you house this many children at this center." And it was kind of a weird setup. It was like an old school, and each room was a different daycare, had a different name. And it was, "Oh, this daycare receives $1.5 million in funding." And then they looked inside, no kids. They went to the next one. This daycare, they got $1 million in funding, no kids. They just keep going around, no kids. And there's over 10 million in funding in there. And then when they asked the people working, they're all Muslims or Somalians.
Yeah.
Where are the kids? Where are the kids? "Oh, you can't film me. You can't film me. You got to get out of here." It's like,
yeah. And again, that's not a knock. Actually, there were some Somalians that I worked with in Minnesota when I was in transportation, and they were honest, at least as far as I know, they were honest working people here, right? So this isn't even a knock on them and the Muslim faith, whatever. I don't give a shit, man. But it's fraud. These happen to be the people that are committing the fraud. So yes, that is what the focus is of that. Just like earlier with the AIPAC stuff. Well, they're the ones that are committing out in the open legal fraud. Legal fraud. It's a little bit of a misnomer, isn't it? I don't know, but it is. Like, the whole system is so irrevocably broken that you have to, you got to start somewhere. And to me, that comes from getting involved in, for me, doing my part in that, doing this podcast, putting information like that out for people like you to see. Some of this stuff might be stuff that some of you guys don't see all the time, don't know all the time. So yeah, we like to think we're doing our little part. I don't know. Do you have anything else to
add to this? No.
Okay.
But I think, like, share, follow, check us out on Facebook. What is it? Disenfranchised Podcast.
Yep.
We do have an email if you want to reach out directly to us. Travis.keith.disenfranchised@gmail.com. I don't know if you can see it on there or not. Can you?
Yeah, it's kind of whited out.
Kind of white it out. You can email us, send us a message on Facebook. We are currently uploading the past shows onto Apple.
Might take a minute. Try just looking it up. Well, we'll figure that out though. Well, you guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We're looking forward to. We got some big things. Got some really big news. We got some stuff coming in the works. We got some local podcasters that are we're going to be doing next week's show. Maybe is going to be, we might have them on. I don't know. We're going to do some promotion on that too though. And yeah, but we'll let you guys know. So, well, hey, in the meantime, thank you.
Remember, like, share, subscribe. Check us
Like,
out on
share,
YouTube.
subscribe.
YouTube, Spotify, on. Fairly soon, we will be on Apple Podcasts, which it says right now that episode 0 and episode 1, it says that they are public.
Onward and outward. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for spending time with us. Like and subscribe, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah. Peace. Go Hoosiers.
Go Woo!
We are.